specialist. I can tell you what we have studied about dioxin, but I probably can't answer a lot of Bud's questions about dioxin. I can just give you a brief overview of the work that we've done and why we're interested in this area.
So I've got like some background slides. Do you want to share?
No, I actually would prefer to.
Okay, so I've got some background slides, and Jamie is going to pipe in whenever she wants to.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, I actually have to go to a different.
So I can give you a little bit of background about why the Swinomish tribe is interested in this area. There are actually several tribes that have what's called usual and accustomed areas in Fidalgo Bay. And what usual and accustomed means is that although it's not within reservation boundaries, by treaty law, tribal members are allowed to go to these areas outside reservation boundaries and harvest food, as they have since time immemorial. And for Fidalgo Bay, that would be seafood, and many people still do. I mean, we talked earlier about seeing crab pots there all year long. And I'm not talking about commercial fishing, I'm talking about subsistence fishing. So not only does Swinomish subsistence fish there, Upper Skagit and Lummi do as well, and some Samish tribal members, since it's close to Samish, although they don't have UNA there. So that's one of the reasons why we're interested in this area.
So now we're going to go over dioxin. So what is dioxin? I know some of this was needed earlier. So it's a persistent bioaccumulative toxin. So it does not degrade readily. It bioaccumulates in the environment, and so in our bodies. So you get your small plankton that may have a load, and then a small fish eats them, and a larger fish, and then we eat that. And at each step, the dioxin is bioaccumulated up the food chain. And so the higher you are, eating higher up on the food chain, the more body burden of dioxin you get. There are cancer risks and non-cancer risks for dioxin. Dioxin is a class of chemicals, and one specific type of dioxin is supposed to be the most potent type of carcinogen known. So that's why it's regulated in parts per trillion, and I don't have the dropper in the swimming pool analogy, but I showed you how many zeros that was. So that's 1 in 1 trillion, which is 12 zeros. And it's kind of alarming once you get into some dioxin research. The risk that we all have, according to EPA, could be as high as 1 in 1,000 cancer risk from dioxin that we're just normally taking in from our normal food supply. So, and a lot of that is in your high dioxin foods are your meats. Dioxin likes fat. It's in the fat. So if you're eating a fatty diet, you're probably at risk for cancer and heart disease. And this is what the beautiful dioxin molecule looks like.
And really, is dioxin naturally occurring, or is it?
It does naturally occur because it actually it's produced by combustion. So it's produced by forest fires, as a matter of fact. But our industrial age has increased the amount of dioxin just by orders and orders of magnitude. And in specific industries, it's more prevalent, like smelting and chlorine production and things like that. So what is a safe level of dioxin? Well, it depends. How are you exposed? Because you can get it through a number of different ways. The primary way we're going to be exposed is through our food. And then what's safe? Well, it depends on, are you talking about, is it cancer or not cancer? Are you a developing child? Are you a mom? Are you an older person? And then how is the risk calculated? So all of these, what is a safe level is kind of it's this amorphous kind of question. People extrapolate from animal studies where they use relatively high levels, and then they draw lines down to say, okay, if this amount affects the animal, this is what we think will affect humans. They add levels of safety into it. We do know that there are subtle effects of dioxin on behavior. levels. There is some discussion still in the scientific community, a lot of scientific research and papers going back and forth about exactly what the mechanism is, and is there a threshold, is there not a threshold? So answering the question exactly what is a safe level is difficult. There's no bright line for dioxin.
And that's, I mean, I think it's particularly true to think about when you're looking at ecology's dioxin standard levels, or even EPA on the national level. There's been a lot of fighting about what's considered acceptable and safe. So just because a federal agency or a state agency says to you that, oh, this level is safe, that may not necessarily actually be the newest, latest data. Right now in the federal level, they're arguing to bring it down 10 times lower than it currently is. Whether or not that will get passed, we don't know, because of course, the lower it goes, the harder it is to detect. First of all, I mean, you can see 1 in a trillion already is really small, so it's really hard to detect at low levels. It's also really, really expensive to clean up to levels that low. So when we're talking about, 10 ppt, it's really, really small on one hand, but on another hand, it could be quite toxic. So it's kind of a toss-up one. So when you're thinking about the numbers, I wouldn't really get attached hard and fast to a specific number about what's safe and what isn't. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah.
I'd like to add a caveat to that also. It's not just what's out there